Hi guys! Hello, hello. Happy St. Patrick's Day if you celebrate it. If you don't, then I'm not saying happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I don't celebrate it because I'm pagan. And yeah, I'm not down with the whole let's get rid of the pagans thing. So there's that. But yeah, I wanted to get started here. I know a couple people are running late, which is no big deal. I mean, honestly, you guys got the recording anyway, right? So you can watch it when you come back. But for today's call, we are doing the Confidently Intuitive Workbook. I know it's backwards for you, but you should have received this in your emails. And if you're able to print this out, I know it's kind of a long workbook. I tried to edit and basically kind of water it down some, but it just wasn't happening. So you get all of it. My throat's a little bit scratchy today, so I'll probably be drinking a lot, just so you know. But let's get into it. I'm so stoked for this. The first page here is just welcome to the workshop. I'm sure you guys read that. This is just to get you basically knowing what's going on with this workshop, why you're doing it, all that kind of stuff, and what I'm here to do for you. So we're going to dig in with trust first and foremost. You have to be 1,000,000,000% honest with yourself when you're doing this. That's part of shadow work, being honest with yourself and making sure, hey, Smitha, how are you, honey?
Hello.
Hello. I just started, literally just started.
Okay.
Trust, so you're totally on time.
All right. Yeah, I'm sitting in the parking lot because it's raining.
Well, you're in the car, so just stay there.
Yeah.
So I was just saying that when you're doing this stuff, when you're doing shadow work, you have to be 1,000,000% honest with yourself. Even if the shit comes up and you're like, oh God, I hate that. You're like, I don't want to look at this. We have to be honest. We have to just accept it as it is, right? So I'm just going to kind of lead through the workbook here. And since you're on, you'll be in the hot seat, if you will. So the first question is, what about trust is so important to you? And before you answer that, I want you to consider the things or the reasons. Hey, Winna. Hello, gorgeousness. How are you? Can you hear us?
Hello.
There you are.
Hey.
There you are. Yeah, so I was just going to ask Smitha, and you can answer this too if you want to, because we just got into the first question, which was, what about trust is so important to you? But before you guys answer, I want you to consider the things or the reasons why betrayal is so tough to swallow, right? Because that betrayal is going to show you why your trust was so important.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of going back to go forward. But once you know that, then you can build from there. So, Smitha, for you, why is trust so important?
For me to be 100% myself.
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Okay. Because it sounded like a question. So, and that's fine. That's fine. This is why we're doing this. We're working through this shit, right? So for you to be 100% yourself, that's why trust is so important to you. And I think that's fucking beautiful. I really do. Because if we're not trusting ourselves that 100%, and granted, we're going to fall off here and there. Shit happens, right? But as long as we're accepting that as just the package of things, right? And we're not going into it and being like, oh my God, now I can't trust myself. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Right.
But trusting yourself that 100% really is the foundation for everything else in your life. Parenthood, relationships with your family, significant others, relationships with coworkers, relationships with the dude that makes your coffee down the street, all of that stuff. So that's a awesome fucking answer. Right? Yeah, smile. Feel good about that. Celebrate that, man.
I'm
Right?
still thinking. Yeah, I went to something else. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Winna? Why is trust so important to you?
I think it's how you define the parameters of your life. You have to create boundaries with which to live in for yourself and for other people. stay sane. Does that make sense?
Oh, hell yeah, it makes sense.
And I think that unless you have trust in yourself, you can't make effective decisions. Or at least I tend to be paralyzed by an inability to make decisions when I don't trust my own intuition, and I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
And when I don't trust other people, it turns me into someone that I don't like. Because I tend to be an incredibly trusting person. It's one of those, I trust you until you break that trust. But then a couple of people broke it so badly, it was almost irreparable. So I'm kind of working back from that.
Yeah.
I think it's a two-way street.
Yes.
When somebody breaks your trust, you stop believing in yourself. So it's a two-way process.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just distrusting them. You stop trusting your own values and morals and
your judgment. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's kind of what happened with me. I just got burned so badly, and I beat myself up so badly because I was like, how did I not see? How did I not know that this person was such a monster? What was it? I was mad at myself about it, I think, more than anything. How could I allow this to happen? But it was meant to happen. So
yeah. I think we've kind of forget that, like, regardless of what like our spiritual or religious beliefs are, like, those situations, they happened. Whether they were meant to happen or not to happen, they happened, period.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why like in my group and mostly like for my posts and stuff, I don't focus so much on like the abuse aspect of going back and reliving and rehashing all of that shit. Like, it happened. We are moving on.
Yes.
Right? So that goes along with like what you were just saying. Like, when these things happen, then we go back into ourselves and we question everything. Right? And then that breeds and it expands, and that becomes our truth.
Yes.
Our truth, right? Our truth up here, not our truth down here.
Right. And our story changes.
Exactly. So that's basically what we're doing today, what you guys have been seeing all week, and the stuff that, I've said that you're like, shit, that's me. Like that stuff there, like that's what you guys are working on as far as rewriting that story. So it's gonna get uncomfortable. Please just go with it.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. No, totally, 100%.
All right. So moving on to the next question, what does trust mean to you? I think you guys pretty much answered that. It means being yourself. It means being able to reciprocate and receive trust, right? Make those decisions confidently and not second guess yourself and all of that stuff.
I was going to say confidence. It's all about having confidence in your own judgment
and not get into the self-blame.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good one. Do you struggle with that a lot, Smitha? Like the self-blame,
I think I've gotten better. That used to be my biggest challenge, living in the victim mode. And it was, of course, over years, it was validated because I've already criticized myself, and there's somebody else telling me the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, this person also is telling me the same thing, so I must be that. But I didn't realize it was coming from outside and not from inside.
Yeah.
Right. You were taking on someone else's perception of you and as if it was the truth, and it's not the truth. I've been doing the same thing, and it was not something that I normally did. That's kind of new for me, and I'm having to identify it and eradicate it, because that is not who I am. Like, fuck that. I don't take that. I'm not gonna own that.
I love that you guys, like, you saw the uncomfortability in that space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what helped facilitate your changes. And that's what a lot of people, I think, don't quite understand is, like, the victim, survivor, liver. Like, you have to get to the point in victimhood to be like, I don't fucking be like this anymore. Like, I'm sad all the time and the world's out to get me. Like, fuck that. I'm out to get the world. So then you move into survivor mode. Yeah. And you just kind of be. And then you're like, I don't want to be anymore. I want to do something. I want to live. And that's what facilitates going into the liver. So beautiful, you guys. Seriously, absolutely awesome. The next question that I have for you, and your ego is going to be like, so we need that bitch to go find something to do, right? I like to tell mine to go look for bears. I'm like, ego, go look for bears. I'm worried that there's a bear attack outside somewhere. And then I can focus. So like whatever you're legitimately afraid of, like instinctually afraid of, just tell your ego to go look for it. Give it something to do so that she's not in this conversation, because this is grown folks' business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, can you forgive yourself and others for breaking your trust? Before you answer, I want you to understand how huge this is. Because this is like the cornerstone, the keystone, if you will, of being able to see that all those past times that you trusted and had that trust taken, or you were betrayed, or you beat yourself up for not seeing it sooner, that kind of shit. Every time that happened, you solidified distrust within yourself. So being able to sit there and be like, you know what? I forgive myself for doing that. And I forgive that other person for being the catalyst that put me in that position, right? So when you do that, if you're finding yourself at least at any point going, I don't think I can do that. That's fine. That's understandable. But I want you to be open to at least entertaining the idea, right? Because we can't change the hurt that shit causes.
Right.
Right? Just like we can't change the fact that it happened. We can't change the hurt, but what we can change is how we're perceiving that hurt. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, can you forgive yourself and others for breaking that trust?
Who are you asking first?
Whoever wants to answer first.
I think I can forgive myself because for the place I came from, where I started off, but I cannot forgive the other person, mainly because I took up the journey of somebody else and made it my own when they were supposed to walk their journey, and pretty much wasted half of my life walking somebody else's journey because they could not figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I have not come to terms, and all the physical manifestations of the hurt every day when my body hurts, it is a reminder why I am going through what I'm going through. And I think till the physical manifestations go away, I cannot truly come to terms with it.
Okay. So I want to point out a couple things that you said, right? Because we gotta change your dialogue, lady.
Yeah.
So in the beginning you said, I think I can forgive myself. I'm not asking you to think about it. I'm asking you to feel about it. Right?
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I can forgive myself is egoic.
Okay.
I feel I can forgive myself is heart and soul.
Okay. I feel.
If you're bringing yourself back down into that, you're being more true to your heart and soul, right?
Yeah.
Because if your heart and soul is like, yes, so that you can forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that's not impossible. Do you feel that shift a little bit in your heart? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like just feel into that. Be with that for a second, right?
Yeah.
So that is something I'm going to challenge you to do when stuff like this is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of I think, go into your heart and be like, okay, what do I feel?
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
Right? Because that'll help to change things a little bit more for you, even like on a deeper level. The other
I think
aspect,
mind telling the heart to set itself right versus heart telling the mind that it is fine. Yeah, I get you.
Yep. And that's egoic. That bitch will tell you
Mhm.
whatever she thinks you
Yep.
need to hear to keep you right in this space.
Yeah.
Right? So the other thing that I want to say too is you said that like you think that once the physical maladies are taken care of, then you'll be able to forgive. Right? What if you are able to forgive and that is the catalyst for the physical maladies to be taken care of?
Ooh,
Mhm.
that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
Just think on it.
Yeah.
Not asking your heart, your soul to make a decision. Just want you to think on that and feel in that.
Mhm.
Okay? My personal perspective on that is if you've broken that trust for me, you don't get my forgiveness.
Mhm.
Right? You're a grown ass person. You know right from wrong. Period. For me personally, with my history of molestation and sexual abuse and the 3 years of being molested and raped by my biological dad, like I will never forgive him for that. He does not deserve that forgiveness.
Mhm.
However, I have forgiven myself because I knew at that time that it wasn't right for that to happen. But because of the abuse, like and the physical abuse that I endured, I was scared shitless to get it to stop. But I
Mhm.
forgave myself for allowing it to continue, right? Because egoically, my ego's like, but you let it happen.
Mhm.
And the survivor instinctual part of me, like, my intuition is like, it had to happen that way because he would have killed you, right? So that is my personal perspective, like just one situation. Like if you've broken that trust, if I've given that to you and you have done something wrong, if you've done something to diminish that trust in any fucking capacity, you don't get that trust back. I'm done. And I'm a Scorpio, so like I hold grudges like none other, dude. You fuck with me, you're done. But on top of that, like especially when it comes to situations of adults wronging you, it is much harder for me to be like, okay, I can forgive you. Most people, it's the other way around. They can forgive the other person, but they can't forgive themselves. So, where you are, both of you, and everybody who's watching the replay, wherever you are on your journey right now, right in this moment, whether you can forgive or you can't forgive, that's fine.
Yeah.
But somebody has to be forgiven in the situation.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're not going to move forward either way.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that hit with you?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Good. What about you, Winna? Can you forgive yourself and the other person for breaking that trust?
I have forgiven myself for the most part. There's still moments where I have to stop myself and identify what my feelings are and where they're coming from and the why of them. I'm really cerebral with that kind of crap. I just can't stop and like overanalyzing everything because I want to understand. It always comes down to understanding for me. If I can understand why someone did something, then I can forgive it, even if it's not something I could ever see myself doing. You know what I mean? However, I'm kind of with you in that I don't know if you saw my comment on, I think it was Allison's post or someone's post the other day in the tribe. The father of my baby, I found out 2 days after I kicked him out of my house after he put her in the hospital for a brain scan, that he is a convicted child molester and pedophile, like diagnosed pedophile. And I knew he was a narcissist. I knew he was a drug addict. I've had to forgive myself for sticking by someone who had these major problems and allowing him to continue being a part of my life while I was trying to help him because I have a savior complex. And I've identified the fact that I had to learn these lessons about myself in order to grow and be better and to not let that happen again. But the fact that once I found out his history, which I had no idea of, then all of a sudden I was like, oh, fuck. Like there are so many red flags and I'm looking back at past behavior and things that happened in my house with his children. And I'm severely scared that he was molesting his own children in my house. And that is unforgivable. You mess with a child, you just can't forgive that. You just can't. Mm-hmm. And the fact that now I have this beautiful baby who one day I'm going to have to explain to her that her father is a monster, which is what I will tell her, because I'm not going to lie to my child. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll be an age-appropriate explanation as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie and say, oh, he was a hero and he died in the war or some shit like that. No, your dad is a fucking monster and I saved you from him. Because no way would I allow that to happen. So I still have anger, I think, that I'm sifting through. I'm also, when, Smitha, when you talked about the physical manifestations, mm-hmm. He left me with a gift that keeps on giving forever. Oh. Fucking lied about it. So, and that's why I lost half of my hair, because the antivirals I was taking to get rid of the herpes, yay me, was making my hair fall out in handfuls. So, like I said yesterday, I think so much of my confidence was wrapped up in my appearance. Well, when half of my hair fell out, then I'm having to deal with how that makes me feel about myself, which makes me feel really bad already. And then now I can't even take the medication to keep the sores from coming back. So now I'm in pain and dealing with the physical manifestation of all of this abuse and all this bullshit. And it's just, I'm coming to terms with where my life is right now, why things happened the way they did, and forgiving myself for allowing it to continue as long as it did. Mm-hmm. I don't blame myself for being fooled, because narcissists do that. They are amazing at it. I mean, and he has made an entire lifetime out of this. This is a guy who gets a woman pregnant and to trap her and then creates his own victims. It's just what he does. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know. I mean, no one knows that. I mean, I even ran a background check on this guy before we really started dating. So it's not like I didn't do my due diligence, sealed record, nothing I could do. So I'm working on forgiving myself. I think I have for the most part. There are certain things that he did to me and things that he did to his children that, although I think it's kind of misplaced responsibility for the forgiveness, it's difficult for me to forgive him for what he has done to his kids. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he used me and my home as a place to do that just makes me so sick. Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, I'm working on it. I mean, that's kind of one of the biggest betrayals in my life. The other one is my brother. And I've just been working on understanding him and accepting this is who he is. This is how he is. This is how he thinks. And he can't see doing things any other way. And I can't control his behavior and I can't control his actions. So it's more about acceptance of that at this point. Forgiveness maybe one day, but not yet.
Okay, so you're at least entertaining the idea on the brother aspect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I forgave the guy who raped me in high school, so it's not like I can't forgive people. I mean, that was kind of a big one. But I think at some point, for me at least, forgiveness is a choice. I have to make a conscious choice to decide to forgive, and then over time, I start feeling the forgiveness. Yeah. I'm working on choosing to forgive these people, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, that was a long explanation.
Dude, we're in a workshop where you're supposed to be talking about this shit, okay? So calm down. The fact that, and there's stuff that I want to talk to you privately about.
Okay.
About what you were talking about, okay?
Did I overshare?
No. You did not overshare, but just for the sake that this is being recorded and everything, there's just stuff that I would prefer to talk to you about one-on-one.
Okay.
So I'll message you then. But, the fact that, and there's no such thing as oversharing with me. Seriously. Yeah. Like, I hold hearts and souls in my hands, and I'm clairsentient. You guys know that. So, like, I can feel what you're feeling, even when I try not to. Like, I try to put a blocker up, and I'm still like, oh my God, shit. Like, that hurts. But yeah, the fact that you understand and what you said, the misplaced responsibility of forgiveness.
Beautiful.
Absolutely fucking beautiful. You're right, Samantha. Absolutely beautiful. And I just got chills. The only responsibility you really have about forgiveness is for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're feeling like forgiveness is something you can grant, or that falls into line of your beliefs, your spiritual, religious beliefs, whatever, then that's also your responsibility. Then it's you forgiving them for yourself.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, you have to be able to forgive yourself.
I feel like the only way to release the anger is to choose forgiveness at some point, because I don't want to be this angry all the time. I've spent way too much time being so angry that it physically consumes me, and it turns me into this person that I don't like and I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So
For me, it's the other way around. I don't feel the anger at all. I have dissociated so much that I do not know where the anger is. But I know all the rest of the thought process, whatever happens in my head, is originating from the place of anger. But I cannot express it. And I know that is eating me up alive inside. I think culturally I was taught not to show extremes of any emotions, especially anger or uh, not being in control of yourself. And that is set in so deep within me that I am not able to express myself and say, yeah, I mean, I would have never let this happen to anybody around me, but I cannot tell that to myself. It's like, why do you just let it go? Let go of the anger, just express it. It's just like another emotion, but it's hidden somewhere. I cannot pull it out.
And Smitha, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't mean to be ignorant when I say this.
Uh-huh.
You're Indian, correct?
Yeah.
From what I know of the Indian culture, that overzealousness of expressing any kind of emotion, whether it's like joy and happiness or anger and pain and all of that, like maintaining that even keel, that like
Composure.
yeah, the composure, like maintaining that composure. It doesn't surprise me though that you're saying like you've disassociated, like you know that there's anger in there, right? And
It has to be.
we know from studies and shit that like anger inside of us has literally created like cancers in people, right? So holding on to that anger while your ego's like, Smitha, keep your shit in control. This is not how a proper Indian woman behaves, right? She's up there fucking tittering away, telling you about who you should be and what you should do. Meanwhile, you're like, okay, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. And you're just compacting the hell out of that anger. So, and you're balling it up and compacting it. So there's no wonder that you can't feel that. I think that there's going to come a time for you where that shit explodes because it can no longer be compacted.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll be a volcano.
Yeah. What I want you to do, and whether you talk to me about it or you talk to somebody else about it, is to come up with constructive ways for that volcano to happen. Control the flow of the volcano and the lava that comes out. Because if you blow up, right, and you have this in the back of your head of this is not how a proper Indian woman behaves, because your ego's telling you this shit. You blow up, your ego's going to be like, see, you're not a proper Indian woman. And then she's going to give you all this other evidence, right, of how damaged and how broken you are and all this other shit that is going to then decrease your confidence, decrease your trust in yourself, right? So with that, with the anger and everything, I get it. You guys, I totally fucking get it. I think we as a society and any society, like global society, we put too much pressure on people to not feel, right? And when we feel too much, we're too sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck that. I've been too sensitive my whole life.
Exactly.
Totally okay with that. And expressing anger is not a problem for me until we just moved into an apartment. If I got pissed, I walk out in the backyard with a gun and I shot the shit out of something. Like I have no problem letting it out. It's stopping it at some point though. Like the anger has to come to an end. And Smitha, for you, it's like you have this emotional straitjacket that is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's heartbreaking for me. I mean, it really, like, I feel that. I totally feel that.
Yeah, I feel that lump, which stops me from expressing happiness, joy, peace. None of those things come out because this thing is choking it so much. Yeah. So yeah, I have stopped interacting with Indians altogether so that I don't encourage that anymore. It's been 2 years since I've interacted with any Indians. I've completely cut myself off so that in any form or shape they don't tell me the same things to do.
Yeah, they don't reinforce that,
Mm-hmm.
that cultural.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see everybody suffering with that, but they have not identified it in themselves about that.
Let me ask you this, Smitha.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be able to interact with the people in your culture?
Nah.
Okay.
No.
So
I think I've gotten the best of my culture, what I needed to. I'm not a present Indian. I'm an Indian 4,000 years ago, and I have gotten what I needed to get. I still like a few things about it, and I will carry it within myself. But the Indian society around me is not going to benefit me in any way, shape, form, size, none of it.
okay, so you recognize that, right?
Yeah.
So, and this question's gonna rock your fucking world, all right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you're not even interacting with the Indian culture,
Mm-hmm.
you've taken the pieces that you need from the Indian culture and kind of like just thrown the rest of it away,
Mm-hmm.
why are you still allowing your ego to tell you that you have to behave like a proper Indian woman?
I don't think my ego is saying that. It is a habit. It is a habit of constantly doing that. Whenever there is danger, do not. I mean, I will give you an example. Eve teasing is so common in India. And if you respond to any of that, you show your anger to these people. And it is not just teasing, it's touching everything they can do when you're walking down the road. And constantly holding on to that anger, if you at all express that anger to them, they will go to any extent of killing you, killing your family, throwing acid on your face. They will go to any extent. The fear of the consequences of showing the anger is so embedded in me. It is, I don't think it is the Indian culture, it's the fear of expressing the anger.
And I get that. I mean, I think anybody would be like terrified to be like, knock it the fuck off. And those words are what kills your entire family. Like, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to sound callous when I say this, but our fears, and like, yes, that's an instinctual survival fear. There is an aspect of that is like,
it's automatic. It's on autopilot mode.
Exactly. But there's also other fears attached to that, though, that do live egoically.
Yeah.
Are you still in India or have you moved?
No. I've been here for 18 years in Atlanta.
So in where? London, you said?
US.
Oh, US. Okay, I was like, wait a second. So you're in the US, right?
Yeah.
You know how fucked up this country can be? With people over expressing their anger and blowing up and everything. On the streets here, though, do you worry about somebody throwing acid on your face if they're catcalling you?
No. That was my first thing I told myself when I walked in. I can walk with my head up and not fear. And I think at this point, I'm going through that little bit of fear probably for my girls, seeing whatever is happening around the world. I thought this was like the safest place and I don't have to live in fear anymore. I never wanted to go back to India, even though I have everything there. I don't have to struggle. I have every possible thing laid out for me, but just that I don't want my girls going through what I went through was my choice to live here.
Yeah.
And now whatever is happening, as I'm getting to know the actual things that are happening, is kind of putting me in that mode again
Mm-hmm.
of I need to be vigilant again.
Yeah.
I need to know my exit signs. I need to know my where I need to get out. 26 years of going through that is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely.
It's a different kind of hypervigilance.
Yes. Yes. I go to a restaurant. I know every face in the restaurant. I know where the exit signs are. I know I can draw pictures of every waitress there. It's that extent of vigilance which takes away, consumes my thought process.
Oh yeah. Well, on the rare occasion that I eat out in a restaurant, which is almost never, like almost never, I am always in the back of the restaurant with my back against the wall so I can see the entire room and everyone who's coming inside. And I've gotten to where it's not every day, but for a long time, for several months, I mean, I carried a loaded 9mm everywhere I went, open carry. Like here I am walking into the gas station with this big gun on my hip and a baby in the other hand to buy a Pepsi or whatever. But for me, that was my hypervigilance. But it was more about a specific person. It was, what if I run into the baby's father who has threatened to kill me?
So I want to just take a second to tie that back into trust, right? And distrust. You trusted certain situations, like you're sitting at this place in the restaurant, you're safer in this place than you would be at this other end of the restaurant. Or, if I'm hyper vigilant and I know what everybody looks like, then I'm safe, right? So doing that, did you guys just see that flash on my screen?
No.
I got like angels or some shit in here. I don't know who the hell that was.
Hypervigilance is exhausting.
Oh God, yeah.
I finally took the gun and I put it in the safe, and I don't even keep it out at night anymore. But I think I just feel like I'm in a safer environment now.
Yeah, and you're trusting more. So that decision, I just want to with that, Lena, I just want to take that particular situation where you were like, I can put this away. You trusted in that decision, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So going forward, with the workshop and everything, and I'm so glad you guys shared this stuff, because these are the things that are coming up in your shadows that you need to focus on. These are the things that are asking you to help heal them. Does that make sense? So even if it doesn't seem like it's fitting in, and if you guys are watching the replay and you're like, what the fuck does this matter? It doesn't have to matter to you. It matters to the person talking about it. Because that's their shit. That is their stuff that is coming up for them. So whatever Smitha has talked about, whatever Winna has talked about, whatever I've talked about, that's our stuff to heal, right? And there are aspects of trust and confidence and intuition that go into all of these stories. And you can find that thread if you look. And you don't have to look hard.
No.
Right?
We walk different paths, but there's similarities to the struggles. There's similarities to, the baggage that we carry along our journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So, going to that putting the 9mm away, Winna. With making your decisions and being empowered enough to trust those decisions, you understood the importance of that, right?
Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to anybody else, it might just be, okay, so this lady put a gun in a safe. Good job. You got a baby in the house. It should be in the fucking safe. Not me. When I had my gun, it was out. Easy access to me, not the kids.
Right.
But, you know, like, so understanding that, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, right? Because that idea didn't just come out of fucking thin air.
Right.
Where you're like, I'm going to go put this in the safe now. It came from your intuition telling you, Winna, you're much safer now.
Yeah.
You can do this now, right?
I mean,
so I want to,
you know, there's still moments where I'll be out somewhere and I'll think, oh my gosh, what if he drives by and he sees my car, which you can't miss because it's one of those kind of vehicles. And what if he pulls in and I don't have my gun? Well, I just can't live like that. I'm choosing not to live like that anymore.
Good for you, dude.
Yep.
Good for you. Own that shit, Winna. Seriously, celebrate that.
Well,
that's you empowering yourself.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to defend myself, if I had to defend my children, I would do it. I really don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us.
That's part of it. What?
I said none of us want to have to do it, but
I'm prepared to.
I will show you what Mama Bear looks like in a split second if I need to.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to ask you guys, going back to the workbook here, is there a decision that you've been needing to make but haven't made yet for whatever reason, but mainly because you don't trust?
Oh, yes.
So, Winna, I'm just going to take your giggles as a yes. Okay. So this question, and this is something you guys can think about. You don't necessarily have to answer it right now. But if you have printed out the workbook or whatever, go back and go through this workbook. Really sit down and dig into shit. Because even stuff that we've talked about on here might evolve by the time you get to the workbook.
Yeah.
Right? So I want you guys to be able to think of one way that you can empower yourself to make that decision. All right? Whatever that decision is that you know, like, the fuck do I do? And remember, not making a decision is making a decision.
I was just going to say, choosing not to act is a choice.
Exactly. And most people are like, what the fuck do you mean? Like,
oh, I needed that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, like, say that there's, I don't know, like a job situation. You get a job in this place, really good benefits, nice house, all of this shit, but you move 6 hours away from your family. Or you have a job over here that has comparable benefits. It's not too bad. It's a little less pay, but it's not really a job that you want. But it keeps you close to your family. Well, I'm not going to decide. Whoever hires me, you know, whatever's going to be taken care of, that's what I'm just going to do. That's still a decision. If you're going inside yourself and you're like, okay, heart, what do you want me to do? What do I need to do to be my best self, to be on my path? However you want to word that, right? And you're like, all right, heart. And your heart's like, dude, this fucking job over here, you're going to love it. And then ego's like, but it's 6 hours away from your family. You're not going to have anybody to watch the kids. You're not going to know the town. Blah, blah, blah. Right? And your heart's like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Right? And ego's still like, but man, this job keeps you here. You got babysitters. You don't got to pay for childcare. Like, you're not going to be making as much, sure, but you're not going to need to spend as much either. Right? That dichotomy of things. And then just sitting on the fence and being like, I'm just going to wait till the wind blows me over in one direction. That's still a decision. That's still a choice.
Yeah.
This is me asking you to actively make that choice based on what your heart is telling you, not what your ego is telling you. Right? So, like, in the workbook, after those two questions is make the decision. All right? So after you guys do this, you're making that decision. All right? And for those watching, I want to know that you made that decision. I want the message that says, I did it. I made the decision. I'm scared shitless, but I made it.
Oh, I've already made mine.
Well, then, Winna, there you go.
Yeah.
the next section of this is in the workbook. I put a bunch of lines in here for you guys to write, but I wanted you to be vulnerable with yourself as to why you struggled so much to make this decision and any other ones. And if it comes down to I didn't trust myself, dig into that, right? Or I didn't have confidence in my choices, dig into that, whatever that is, because it's going to show you not only areas that could be worked on a little bit, right? But it's also going to show you your patterns. We can't break patterns if we don't fucking see them. And because we are just programmed to be so in our shit, in our little bubble, it's hard for us to step back and like get into that shadow workspace of this is actually what the fuck's going on, and I can accept that, and I can live with this, I can work with this, right? So do you guys have any questions at all about trust? Do you need any other help with that? Because if not, we're going to move on to confidence.
Oh, let's move on to confidence.
All right, what else?
I know I'm sitting on the fence with the trust issue, but I think I could use some confidence right now.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, what's that one?
Confidence, we will have more trust in ourselves. One breeds the other, I think.
Yep. And that's also why I tied in the intuition too. Trust, confidence, and intuition. Like I said, I think on one of my lives, 2 of my lives, I was like, it's peanut butter, jelly, and bread. Like, you cannot make a sandwich with that if you don't have all 3 ingredients.
That's true.
Right? So that's what this is. So for confidence, again, we kind of have to go back a little bit to go forward. So I want to know the things that drain your confidence. Is it outside shit? You know, family, friends, blah, blah, blah. Internal egoic shit, or is it negative self-talk? What for you guys drains that confidence?
Negative self-talk. The most. I would say it's some of all 3, but for the most part for me, I don't know when I became this person that constantly fed myself poison in thought form. I don't know, but at some point I did. And I think maybe the catalyst for that was my life blowing up, and I started looking at it from the perspective of I made these mistakes. And it's all about the words you choose. It's all about the perspective that you have in that moment. I think that then can kind of color the moments that come after. And so I'm having to kind of redefine things that have happened, why they happened, what they were, you know, where the fault lies or blame or whatever, so that I'm not taking it all upon myself anymore, because I have a tendency to do that, take on all of the blame.
Yeah. So just as a for everybody kind of thing, switching gears about how we talk about shit, fault and blame are both very egoic words, right? Because it assumes, and it makes you assume that someone is responsible for this. Someone is to blame. But it takes, and it detracts from whatever fault or blame that you have, right? Because we don't want to be blamed for shit. We don't want to be at fault. It's just the natural way that we are, right? So if you take fault and blame and you kind of throw those away and you put in their personal responsibility, it places those words, those feelings that we attach to those words where they should belong, right? But it neither negates or, you know, feeds into either side of things. So when you're saying, like, you know, whoever's at fault or to blame for this shit, if you say whoever's has their personal responsibility for the situation, do you hear like how different
it is? Different. I
even
think
just the energy around it is.
Yeah. I think to clarify, for me though, I have a tendency to assume all personal responsibility. Like, I am one of those people who I take it all on myself automatically. I don't look at other people and say, oh, this was your fault, you're to blame for this. I take it all on myself, and it's misplaced personal responsibility at times. Sometimes it is my responsibility. I'm big on taking responsibility for my shit.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the time I take on too much stuff that's not mine.
Yeah. So with taking on too much that isn't yours, okay, that feeds into the negative self-talk, Lena.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this totally ties in with confidence. So anybody who's watching the replay and you're like, what the fuck does this have? Totally ties in with it, okay? That, and I want to point something out to you that's going to make your ego go, bitch. No, we're not going there. You taking all that responsibility, even when it's not yours, you shouldering all of those burdens is your way to be in martyrdom.
Oh, yeah.
Being a martyr is the same as being a victim. Your ego wants you to be a victim because for so long you were a victim.
Yeah.
And that is the safest place for ego to have you be. Right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you understand and you see objectively, like, yeah, I take shit on that I don't need to take on. Now you have the opportunity to change that habit, change that pattern. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just called your ego out. So if she wants to fight, we can talk about it, but...
Yeah, I agree. This is something I have really kind of come to start seeing in myself recently.
Sorry, guys. I was like, let me mute this, and I still didn't even get it in time. But yeah, you see that. And the next question in here... Oh, I'm sorry. Smitha, did you want to talk about your drains? Your confidence drains?
It's pretty much tied to my trust thing. If I don't do it, I look for somebody who will tell me that you are like this, just so that I can confirm it for myself. It's just a battle of the ego. I mean, deep down, I know that it is not true. It is not true that I need to be that perfect. But something in my head will tell me, you need to conquer this. You can't be this. But to begin with, I'm not that person, but I would like to think that I'm that person. And that really messes me up.
Yeah. So like when you don't succeed at those things,
Mm-hmm.
then your confidence gets rocked, right?
Yeah, and there is that voice, I told you so.
No,
Well,
I love that voice, don't you? She says very fucking sarcastically.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I narrate myself. Just go with it. So, and Winnie, you kind of answered the next question too, right? The next question was, how do you handle your responsibility over your confidence and your confidence issue?
It's all mine.
Yeah.
It has to be all mine. I cannot blame the world for where I am today if I don't do the work. Yeah, it was not handed to me on a silver platter, but I think I'll be much more empowered once I conquer it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, we are so conditioned as a society, and especially as women, thanks vaginas, we got one guy. Josh, I'm sorry, man. But, we're so conditioned as women to think that, like, we have to be all of these different things. Like, we wind up feeling like a fucking Picasso painting on the inside, right? Everything's disjointed. Nothing is defined, but everything's, like, makes no fucking sense to the logical mind. So, for taking that responsibility, Smitha, and understanding that it is yours and yours alone, do you realize how empowered you just literally made yourself?
Yeah, it is painful when I see that I'm alone. It is painful also at the same time, because I lived in that dream world of there's somebody who's going to hold my hand and walk through this with me, and there's going to be a shoulder, as Disney World. But to know that I came alone and I'm going to go alone and I'm going to do the work alone, I think I'm in a little scarier place right now, but I'll get used to this also, just like everything else.
Yeah, and I get that, and that goes along with the conditioning, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody, this is totally off topic, but I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. Do you, like, see the rape culture in Disney films? Like, she's sleeping. Let me kiss her awake. Motherfucker better not touch me while I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
How do I mute?
How do you mute? I got you, Winna. I got you. There you go. You're good. So, like for you and Smitha especially, like I want to drive this home to your heart, okay? So just be totally open to receive this. I understand, and I get that feeling of loneliness, like the desperate loneliness that you're going to be alone. And there you go, honey.
I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm going to see if I can lay the baby down for a nap.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to mute it just in case, but you're still good. Just stay on.
Thanks. I'll be back.
All right. You know, Smitha, especially for you, I wanted that desperate loneliness, right? I get it. I really do. But when you wake up in the morning, even when you're with somebody else, you are still in yourself, right?
Yes.
Every night you go to bed, whether you're going to bed with one person or 20 people, I don't give a shit what you do with your life. You're still going to bed with just yourself, right? You are the only one who knows truly how you feel about things and truly where your confidence lies, truly how you trust, truly how you feel in this world, right?
Yes.
So to keep, and this is going to sound fucked up, but to keep buying into that idea of you need someone with you to help you through this, it's a dispowering thought pattern.
Yes.
Right? Because and it's taking that personal responsibility off of you and it's pushing it onto them, which is not fair.
No.
Right? And you said earlier that, you know, the man that you were with, I'm assuming ex-husband?
No. I'm still not divorced. I'm still on the fence on that.
So the ex. We'll just call him the ex.
Yes.
So you said that, you know, you walked his path and you didn't get to walk your own. When you said that, I felt like how, like, just sad you were about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't get to experience your experiences.
No.
So
no, I as a child, I didn't. But then as a child, I dreamt that there'll be a cutoff for me where I can actually dream. And I dreamt about my next half of my life, how colorful it's going to be and how I'm going to do this, 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 and this. But it turned out to be the exact thing what my first half was. And it kind of left me in this place like I have one life. I don't have much. So I need to get on the horse now.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, you were so sad saying that you walked somebody else's path. And now egoically, and this is where this is coming from, egoically, you're like, but I need somebody to walk my path with me. No, you don't.
Yes.
They can't walk your path with you. Why it was so uncomfortable for you to walk his path is because that was his shit, not yours. Right? So walk in your path. Find out who you are as a woman, right? And fucking love the shit out of that.
Oh, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. When you come from a culture where you're told to breathe and sit and stand and respect and I don't know who I am.
I feel you. I get it. I totally get it. But guess what? You are Smitha.
Yes.
You get to decide who the fuck you are.
Yes.
Not the cultural ideals, not the egoic bullshit, not the ex bullshit, not the family bullshit, not the, you know, part-time, full-time job for now. None of that shit. Like, I want you, like, dude, I want you feeling yourself. Like, feeling that queen that is inside of you.
Yeah.
That's where I want you to go. And we'll get you there, girl. We'll get you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. The next question on here, and I'm going to keep going, but because we're already at our hour.
Okay.
This is how this shit goes. Like, I plan out a couple hours just for my workshops because we get into shit, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to think back to a time that you were confident in yourself. How did that feel for you?
Oh, beautiful. beautiful. That's what I look back. It was just 2 years of my life. I keep reminding myself how beautiful it was.
Yeah. Do you believe that you can get back to there?
Yes, I want to. I want to.
Then there you go. You will.
The sense of freedom, oh, I would do anything for that. Yeah.
Good. Good, good. You'll get there, lady. You'll get there. So the next part of confidence, especially in the workbook here, I have boost, celebrate, and remember. So it's not just enough to go through those last questions, right? We really want to boost and solidify your confidence in yourself. This is going to be an ongoing practice. This isn't you did the workshop, bam, it's all good. You know, that's not how it works. But when you come up kind of with like this new habit, this new pattern for yourself, and this is what this is for, the boost, celebrate, remember, right? The boost. Write down things that can boost your confidence, right? Things that you like to do that you know that you're good at, that are, you know, maybe hard for other people. That would be a confidence booster for yourself. And then you practice that daily, right? You celebrate the times where you do something maybe even a little bit outside of your realm and you succeed at that. Celebrate the fuck out of that. Because that's going to help boost your confidence as well. And then always remember what it feels like to be that confident, right? When you get to the point where you can be confident even in failures, you know your confidence is like through the roof, right? Because it's easy to be confident in the things that we accomplish. It's harder to be confident in the things that we failed at, right? But it is possible.
Okay.
Totally possible for you to get there. Do you have any other questions about the confidence section? Okay. We're going to move right along into acting intuitively, right? So the first question I have in the workbook for acting intuitively is, what does your intuition sound like? What words does it use? The voice it's used in, the volume. Most people can't really answer that question, right? Because they haven't listened to it. They haven't practiced really listening to it. And that's why I did the challenge last week of listening, or the week before, I guess at this point, of listening to your intuition and acting intuitively, right? So, you know, I want you to sit and just kind of feel into that. Feel into yourself and just visualize like having a conversation with your intuition. And then write down the words that it uses, the voice that it sounds like, you know, the volume. Is it a kind of a low, or is it like a screechy high?
No, it's soft and mellow and comforting.
There you go. So that's your intuition, right?
Yeah.
And like, I feel like a warm embrace by like those words that you said.
Yeah.
Right? So next then I want you, like, what does following your intuition feel like? When your intuition gives you a message and you follow it, what is that feeling that you can associate with that?
The ego does not come. When the intuition is there, the ego does not come in between. I feel, yes, I found it. And it's impulsive reaction after that, but it's the right reaction.
Yeah, good. And then this is just, you're going to have to do this on your own. But what are some ways for you to listen to your intuition? Coming up with kind of scenarios, right? For you to stretch and use that tool. It could be situations where, like, I don't know, you know how, and women do this all the time. We're like totally guilty of it. The phantom conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you can kind of use that method, but employ it in a different way with your intuition.
Okay.
Right? Like, you know, say there's a conversation between you and the ex that you're just hashing out over and over again. And it's the same shit that you keep playing in your mind with, oh man, I should have said this. Do that again, but like do it in a way where your intuition is coming into it, right? Oh, welcome back. There you are.
Thank you. Oh, so she's finishing a bottle. When she's done, I'm going to have to run again, but then I'll be back.
You're good. We are finishing up here in a few minutes anyway, so you're good. I just don't want you guys to miss out on this. I have a very, very special something for you guys for signing up for the workshop, for being here, and for doing the fucking work. So I just didn't want you to miss that part. Or any of it, but obviously you get the recording, so you can always go back. So moving on, like, how are you going to forgive yourself and course correct? Part of that actively listening to our intuition is knowing when we don't listen to our intuition. Right? And that negative self-talk, that beating ourselves up, like, fuck, I should have listened to that. Oh, damn it, I knew it. You know, that those things there, that's negative self-talking. So how do you forgive that, and how do you course correct? It has to be something very, very specific to you. And the reason why I want it to be something specific to you is because it is your intuition, and your intuition is so intimately a part of you. I can sit here and be like, so you just say, like, you know, intuition, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I will try harder next time. But if that's not hitting with your intuition, if that's not feeling good, you're going to be like, I'm not going to fucking do that. You know? So this is where you have a conversation with your intuition. How can I forgive myself and course correct so that I can better listen next time? Right? So that is definitely something that you guys have to do on your own with this. And then switching gears just a little bit. What do you want it to feel like when you do listen to your intuition all the time? So hypothetically speaking, your intuition comes in, bam, 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 every single time you're listening to it. What feelings do you want to associate with that?
Peace.
Yeah.
This is a big one. Peace is a big one. For me, I think I want to feel like I've won the freaking lottery. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I trusted, and it came to fruition, and now I can trust myself. I can trust my intuition. The strength that comes from that.
Yeah.
The personal empowerment.
Yeah. You guys know that's all possible, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going on faith in my intuition. I told you that yesterday. I'm believing the cards. We'll see.
Yeah. And then also, you know, other side of the coin, what way do you not want it to feel like?
Want the monkey brain again taking off all over again after I get the intuition.
Brittany, I'll be right back. Give me like 1 minute, okay?
You're fine. I have a hungry dude. Hold on 1 second, guys.
All right, hold on.
He's been so good so far. He's been good. I'm sorry, Smith. I really am. What were you saying about, like, what you didn't want your intuition or what you didn't want it to feel like when you listen to your intuition?
The brain just going on all over again, the monkey brain, like, you know, 1 minute it's here, the decision making, because I've always felt that intuition stops that chatter in my head, and I don't want the intuition to start that all over again for me.
I like that. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because it becomes that tug of war of, oh, I listened, this is great. Yeah, but you listened, and here's everything else. Like, you could have chosen to do it this way, and this is what could have happened. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? That's what I tell, like, my ego all the time too. Like, when she starts, I'm like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, bitch. This is what I'm doing. Right?
Yeah.
And then I put in here, think about a way that you do want it to feel like. What's that? And I know it's kind of a repetitive question, but it's basically going to be the opposite of what you put for the previous question, right? So, yeah, so I put, think about a way that you do want it to feel like. What's that? And I said, I know it's kind of repetitive, but it would be the opposite of the previous question's answer. So you said that you didn't want it to be like that tug of war between you're listening to your intuition and your ego jumps in.
Yeah.
This would be you're listening to your intuition and your ego is just quiet. Right? The reason why I repeated that question kind of is because I really wanted to drive home what you want most out of your intuition. Right? Because your intuition's there to serve you. It is there as a tool for you.
It's never let me down. It's never let me down.
Exactly. And more to the point, you've let your intuition down, but she doesn't hold it against you.
No.
Right? She doesn't, badger you about it and I told you so. She's just like, all right, girl, next time.
It's like, I always feel like it's like the GPS system. It keeps going, rerouting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, with the acting intuitively part of this workshop, I know there wasn't quite as much to kind of go over with the trust and the confidence. Mainly because some of those questions, like, you really do have to just, like, feel into to answer.
Yeah.
Welcome back, darling. Why is it? There we go. I was like, why is it not letting me unmute you?
Because I found the mute button.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
So it was like the car window, like the car door.
Sorry about that. Yeah, someone had a poopy butt, so it was a little bit more.
Oh, girl, you're fine. You're fine. We're like just finishing up, but the last page before like the notes page, I always put a notes page in there so that you guys can jot anything down. But if you're into it, what I want you guys to do is do like a 5 to 10 minute meditation on your own today. Meditate and visualize all three of these elements coming together. Right? Like, give trust its own bubble, give confidence its own bubble, give your intuition its own bubble, and see them coming together as one bubble and then implanting it into your heart. Right? And then once you come out of your meditation, I want you to write down what you saw for it, what you felt about it, right? Go back to this at any point when your trust is getting rocked, when your confidence is getting shook, when your intuition is like, she didn't listen again. At any point, go back to that and remember, right? Remember what it feels like to have all three of those components as one in your heart, right? The shit that's true is in our heart, right? The true things about us, those don't change. It's like pure energy. You can't destroy and you can't create it. It just is. Right? We all have the ability to be, to have trust in ourselves, to have confidence in ourselves, to listen to our intuition. It's these outside experiences that we internalize that kind of, they make us forget. Right? So I want to, like, if you guys do that today, I would absolutely love to hear about how it went for you. Because I'm always coming up with like new visualizations to do, and this is a new one. So you guys are like guinea pigs.
I like that.
So do you guys have any questions before I tell you about your specialness that I have for you?
No, I feel so good about this. I feel like this and the conversation you and I had yesterday during your live, completely shifted. I had a huge shift yesterday. And it's funny because, I told you I'm working with Bash, and we had a session last night, and I had sat down and I had done a lot of my homework that morning. And as I was reading things to her last night, I was like, gosh, I've already moved past this. Like, when I talked to Brittany today, I moved past this. This isn't even true anymore. So I feel like I'm in a much better place. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. You're so, so welcome. Now, speaking of trust and confidence and listening to your intuition, I wanted to give you guys something that would like further help you with this, and then also help dig through those shadows and shit, right? Because this is awesome, right? Don't get me wrong. I love fucking doing workshops. But this is a one and done workshop, right? Yeah. But it doesn't fix. God, I hate that fucking word in this context. It doesn't mend. It doesn't really bring on like the whole change and the whole
360.
Yes, thank you. It can be used to help facilitate that, but I want to give you guys something even more for that. So I have, and I don't know if you know this, but I have my monthly mentoring. My monthly mentoring is $250. So that includes a 1 hour call every week. I don't do workbooks for the monthly mentoring because it's specifically for like the stuff that you guys would brought up during the workshop. It's Facebook support and it's homework, right? I don't want to give it to you guys for $250. So if you guys are interested and you want to really dig into this stuff and really change this stuff, it's only going to be $99 a month for 6 months.
Awesome.
So instead of spending, where was it? So I calculated it out. It would be like $1,500 total for 6 months of one-on-one work. Doing it at just $99, just for the guys and, well, for the ladies and the one guy who did the workshop, it is only for you guys that get this $99 deal. Okay? It's like $1,000 in savings. Because I believe so fucking hard that you guys are seriously ready to like just break free of that shit, right? So I wanted to give you the chance to do that. And since I don't offer workbooks normally, I've also added in that you guys have the option to buy extra workbooks for $20 a piece. Workbooks are like this, right? So it's not like you get 2 pages and no, you get like 10 pages worth of fucking shit to do. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you.
Okay.
And it's just $99 monthly for 6. I can't type and talk at the same time.
The masculine takes over.
Yeah, I'm like, I start typing when I'm trying to talk about, and it doesn't end well for me. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys something super special because I know what it's like, and I've been through this shit. I know what it's like to try to dig yourself out of those trenches again, right? Yeah. Where you don't feel confident in yourself, you don't trust yourself, and the intuition part of it is kind of like it's not even on the radar when you're dealing with these things. So I wanted to be able to offer you guys something that I've never done before, but that I think is going to be truly fucking like cataclysmic for you guys to really change the things that were brought up today, and just be yourselves, right? And like Samantha, we talked about this, like be yourself, woman.
Who am I?
Right?
You are fucking amazing, Samantha. That's what you are.
What's that?
She is fucking amazing, and she needs to remember that.
Yeah, so do you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I say, not as I do.
So, yeah, you guys, I mean, that's everything I have for you today. I hope, seriously, my intention for doing this workshop was for whoever felt called to really dig into this stuff and face this stuff, because it is heart, man. It is in your heart. And I know what it means. And I know like the magnanimity of it, that's not the word I want. The massiveness of it. I know all that. And my intention was for you guys to get something out of it that can change and can spark something for you. So I really hope that it did.
Yes, it did.
It's
always nice to get a different perspective, because you tend to go in the same circles all the time when you hit the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
When you're mentally exhausted, you like the repetitive mode. So that's a good time when, yeah, like, hello, you can think like this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Winna?
I think it's a great catalyst for change.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're kind of looking for.
Yeah.
And it's, while it's important to listen to your intuition when we're doing this kind of shadow work, we can't fall back on old bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to those unhealthy voices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to have, like you said, Samantha, it's good to have someone from the outside, from a different perspective, shining
Mm-hmm.
light on things that we hadn't necessarily thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And that's pretty much what I fucking do. I'm a shadow work healer, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
shine my light behind you, just to kind of light shit up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, go ahead. Go. So, yeah, that's it. Those of you who are watching the recording, the 99 monthly mentor deal still applies to you. I'm going to leave this open for like 3 days. Give you guys to listen to your intuition, have a conversation about it, right? And if you want to go forward, we'll go forward. All right? But other than that, thank you guys so much for being here today. Seriously, I fucking love this shit. So this means the world to me that you guys came.
Thank you so much.
That you did it, that you got stuff out of it, you know. You're so, so welcome. And I want you to pay attention to something specifically. When you're watching the replay,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to pay attention to your faces in the beginning of this
Mm-hmm.
and your faces at the end of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you guys.